control. The process is under statistical control. What kind of variation it will have? Now you have a question to you now. Can you tell me what kind of variation a process will have if it is under statistical control?
All are correct.
Common cause
Very good.
variations.
Common cause, random cause, unassignable cause. All are one and same. So fourth is the correct option. An out of control process will always have special cause variation, will always have common cause variation, will always have both common cause and assignable causes of variation.
Both common cause and
Both
assignable.
common cause and assignable cause.
Very good, very good. All right. So now let us move. Okay. We can always improve a process which is statistically out of control.
No,
Is that statement true or false?
false.
False.
If a process is statistically out of control, what should be your immediate goal? Statistical process control or statistical process improvement?
Process improvement.
Control.
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 Right? Before improvement, you must gain control. Once control is ensured, then you
Then
can
after
improve.
that improvement is there.
Perfect. Right. Now we go on with case study, and see here there are a lot of data available, and you can see the data are nothing but the length of a product. The product is a camshaft. You don't have to worry about it. A dimension is important in a product. For those of you who come from a service industry, you can consider the numbers as a time, or some other relevant metric which is relevant to your industry. So it is a camshaft. The length is critical to quality. The length is critical to quality, and the requirement is 600 mm. And customer always gives some tolerance, 600 mm plus or minus 0.05 or something, right? And now you wanted to understand how good your process is in producing the product with a desired length of 600 mm. And your company is running 4 shifts a day, shift number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you wanted to understand your capability, or you wanted to understand how good your process is. So from every shift, you decided to collect 5 data. That means you have taken 5 sample of camshaft, 5 units you have taken, and you noted down the readings, the length. Same way, shift number 2, shift number 3, shift number 4. So every time you go to the field or go to the line and select 5 sample, means you have taken data in subgroup. This is your first subgroup, and your subgroup contains 5 samples inside. And now the number 5 is called subgroup size or your sample size. This is a very important terminology, sample size. And you will be having a session about the sample size and sampling technique today, in the forenoon. So the subgroup is number 1 and subgroup size is 5. So on day 1, you have taken 4 subgroup. So totally you will have 20 readings on day 1. Same way you repeat it for day 2, day 3, day 4, and day 5. So since 4 subgroups every day you are taking. Okay. Who is this Vision? Yeah. So say every day you have 4 subgroup, and so after 5 days, 20 subgroups you have taken, and each subgroup contain 5 data. So totally how many data? 100 samples you have. Now let's see how to plot a control chart. So your sampling plan is sample size is 5, otherwise called the subgroup size, and then frequency of sampling 5 per shift, right? Frequency of sampling, yeah. Every shift you are taking 5 sample, and then there are 4 shifts per day, and 100 individual units in 20 samples of 5 each at regular intervals was collected. Now compute the X bar. What is X bar? Every subgroup you have 5 data, and calculate the average, and that is X bar. And formula is sum of the 5 observation divided by sample size 5, and compute the range. What is range? The largest minus lowest within each subgroup, right? So you can easily do all the calculation, or software will do it. And compute X double bar. Since there are 20 subgroup, 20 averages will be there. Now you take the average of the averages, that is called X double bar, right? And now similarly compute R bar. What is R bar? Average of the ranges. Since there are 20 subgroup, there are 20 ranges. You take average of the ranges, which is your R bar. The X double bar will be the center line in your X bar chart. R bar will be the center line in your range chart. Now you compute the control limit. And what are your control limit? the 3 sigma distance from the center. And since you have less data, and predicting the standard deviation is a tough job. Whenever your number of data points in your subgroups are less than 8, range will be the better predictor of variation. Range will be the better predictor of variation. And so using the range, we are going to locate the control limit, not using the standard deviation. And so some statistical relationship is established. Upper control limit is D4 into R bar. Lower control limit is D3 into R bar. What are these D3 and D4? Statistical constants, which depends on subgroup size or sample size. And similarly for X bar chart, the upper control limit is X double bar plus A2 into R bar. Lower control limit is X double bar minus A2 into R bar. Right. So next step. Now all the control limits, center line, everything is understood. Now you plot the control chart and interpret your results. And see here, there is a table available which the statistical experts have already formulated. So from the table, for a subgroup size or sample size of 5, A2, the constant A2 is found to be 0.577, D3 is found to be 0, and D4 is 2.114. I can use all these values to locate my control limit. And now your data is available. See here, and your data is available in the same format which I have shown earlier. Now what is X double bar? Subgroup number 1, there are 5 data. Take the average, 600.36. Now what is range? 3.6. What is the largest within the 5 minus smallest within the 5? Can you figure out the largest number here within the first subgroup? What is the largest?
601.6.
Yes, 601.6. And the smallest one is 590. Very good. As a result, you get the range equal to 3.6. Each subgroup is giving you 1 X bar and 1 range. There are 20 subgroups, so you will have 20 X bar and 20 ranges. Take average of all the X bar, you will get X double bar, which is found to be 600.072. This is going to be the center line in your X bar chart. Similarly, range, you have 20 ranges. Calculate the average of the ranges, which is 2.72, which is going to be the center line in your range chart. And now, there are two control chart we are interested in. One is X bar chart, another one is R chart. You need to know why 2 charts are required. And now, the first chart you need to plot should be range chart, not the X bar chart. There is a logic, there is a reason behind it. Now, I have taken a graph sheet, and that is why I have advised all of you to buy a graph sheet also. And now, in the range chart, the center line is 2.72. So draw the center line slightly below 3. I have drawn the center line. Upper control limit, we know the formula, isn't it? Upper control limit is D4 into R bar. D4 is 2.114. R bar is 2.72. Multiply, you get upper control limit. Now locate it. And lower control limit formula is D3 into R bar. D3 is 0. So D3 into R bar is 0. So lower control limit is plotted. Center line is available. Upper control limit is available. Lower control limit is available. And now what is your first range? You calculated something like 3.6. Can you see the point coming plotted exactly at 3.6? Your first subgroup below 3.75. And then second subgroup, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, 7, 8, 9, 10. And there are 20 subgroups you have. Plot all 20 subgroups. And now connect the points in the same order. 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4 using a scale, and take a sketch pen. And then you can connect the 1 to 2 using a straight line. And your control chart will look like this. And now tell me, is this R chart under control?
Yes.
Yes.
R chart is under statistical control. Now, how is it significant to you? How is it useful to you in your business? When R chart is under control, what does it mean?
It means there is no variations.
Where?
Less variation.
No variation means what kind of variation?
Means whatever the common causes are there, and
Yes,
whatever the variation is there, so that is under control limit.
I'll tell you. We generally produce products from every, shift by shift, right? First shift, you produce a lot of units. Maybe you pack it. And then second shift, you produce a lot of products. Again, you pack it. So let us consider the output from each shift as a batch. Clear? Each shift is considered a batch. So first batch output, from the first batch, how many samples you have taken? 5 samples. And then the range is calculated. Now this range measures the variation within your first batch. Am I right? Now this range measures the variation within your second batch. This is your third batch. This is your fourth batch. And now what is that you are plotting? You are plotting the variation within each batch. This is called within variation. Within shift number 1, is that all your outputs are one and same or not? All of you are with me? Within shift number 1, let us say within shift, you produced 1,000 units. What is your expectation? All 1,000 units should be almost same, isn't it? So that is happening or not? That is what is getting monitored in your range chart. Imagine you are producing, biscuit packets. Your company is like Britannia or Parley, right? And you are producing biscuits. First shift, whatever you produced, you packed it in a box. What is there inside the box? So many biscuit packets, right? And all the biscuit packets inside your, the, what you call the carton should have the same taste. Am I correct or not? There could be 1,000 biscuits inside the carton. What is important now? All 1,000 should have the same taste. Can you have different taste inside a carton? Do you think your customer will like the way you are producing the biscuits? Yes or no?
No.
Obviously no. So that is why it is important to monitor within batch variation. This is called what? Within batch variation. And R chart monitors the within batch variation. Now R chart is under control. Only when R chart is under control, you can move on to the X bar chart. And now X bar chart, central line is available, upper control limit available, lower control limit available. I plot the center line, I mark the upper control limit, I mark the lower control limit. Now all the three are available. Now my first X bar value, right, is plotted here. The average from the subgroup 1, subgroup 2, 3, 4. Similarly, all 20 points I plotted. And as usual, you can take a blue color sketch and scale, and you can connect them. And now looking at the control chart. Now tell me, is your process under statistical control?
There is a variation.
Yes, process is under control.
There's an outlier, sir.
No. Process is under control.
No.
Oh, sorry. One is out of control. Yes.
Now the eighth,
1 point is out here.
eighth subgroup is below your lower control limit. And now only 1 point is below the lower control limit. Is it really serious?
Yes, sir,
No.
because we have taken only less samples.
You have taken, sample size is 5 and then 20 subgroups, totally 100 samples you have taken. Okay, let us not worry about sample size. Now looking at the result. Is it a serious issue? My question. Or how do you handle it if the same thing happens in your company? How do you handle it? Will you continue running the process or you will stop the process?
we
Not
have-
to
we
worry
have to
about
investigate.
as long as it is a
We'll
one-off.
continue the process, but we'll tweak it.
Okay.
We'll continue the process.
Sir, we will continue the process, but
the special cause will be identified and improvement will be.
Theoretically, it's a special cause. Theoretically, it's a special cause. So we understood we need to stop. We need to investigate, fix the root cause. Then only we should proceed. But in reality, most of the time, what people do is they ignore. Since only 1 point came out of 20 samples, 20 subgroup, only 1 point came beyond the control limit. And so they generally ignore what is there because the typical Indian mindset, okay, let us chalo, right? Just 1 point, beyond the control limit. And if you have that habit, such a culture, what will happen? When you continue producing more output, you will start seeing more points coming outside the control limit. Will it happen or not? Obviously happen because your process is under the influence of a special cause. If somebody was telling power fluctuation all of a sudden. And so what will happen, unless and until you resolve the power fluctuation, your process will be under continuous influence, isn't it? Continuous disturbance. And so eventually the number of outputs beyond the control limit will keep increasing. Let's say 1 becomes 3. 1 becomes 3. Now, will you take action now? Will you stop the process at least now?
Yes.
Right? Because if you still deny to take the action, probably instead of points coming out, they will send us out. So we don't want to get into trouble. So we will start taking action. In my opinion, the point going beyond going beyond control limits, the 3 sigma limits is a strong signal. Even with 1 point, you can take action. Even with 1 point going beyond the control limit, you can stop the process and you can go for a thorough investigation. you will be able to identify the special cause. After the special cause is identified, or you will be able to understand that there is a special cause, then with some appropriate tools, you can actually identify what is the special cause. Then with further analysis, you can actually come out with a solution. You can fix the special cause. So now, what is the significance of this X bar chart? What is this chart is talking about? Earlier we understood that R bar chart was helping us to monitor the within batch variation. Now what is this X bar chart is monitoring? It is monitoring the batch to
Batch variation.
very good. This is called batch to batch variation. Earlier I checked within a day, whatever I produce should be same. Now I am checking, am I producing the same product yesterday also, today also, tomorrow also? First batch, my output is around this. And second shift, my output, all my outputs are around this, because this is the central tendency of your shift number 2. This is your central tendency of your next batch. So what is that you are monitoring? Batch to batch variation. Just to help you understand, imagine you manufactured or you produced biscuits, and you packed it, and now packing all your today's production goes to Chennai. All your today's production goes to Chennai, and within Chennai, the biscuit packets gets distributed into several areas. Let's say Anna Nagar also your biscuits are available. Tambaram also your biscuits are available, and then similarly in Paris, many areas. Now what is your expectation? Within Chennai, wherever people buy your biscuit, it should have the same taste. Am I right? Am I right or not?
Yes, sir.
This is
Yes,
what
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
This is what you are monitoring in R chart.
Yes.
When somebody opens your outputs from the batch and then have an experience with your product, the experience should be same. All right. So the first batch you supplied to Chennai. The second batch you are supplying to Bangalore. And third batch you are supplying to Delhi. Fourth batch you are supplying to Kolkata. And now, do you expect the experience in Chennai, Bangalore, Kolkata, Delhi to be same, or you want to have different experience?
Same.
Same.
That is what your X bar chart is monitoring. If you are not able to gain control in your X bar chart, your biscuits in Chennai will have a taste, and Bangalore will have a different taste, and Delhi might have some other different taste, and that will actually kill your business. You are not able to maintain consistency in your product quality. All of you are with me? Why we plot two charts? One is R chart, another one is X bar chart. R chart monitors within batch variation. X bar chart monitors between batch variation. The within batch variation is more important before plotting the between batch variation. Why? Because in deciding the control limit in your X bar chart, the values of range is also used. And so, unless and until your R chart is under control, never plot your X bar chart and make any conclusion. And now I'm showing both charts together. And
Sir,
this is how,
sir, I have one question, sir. On
Yes,
the previous
please.
slide.
yes, please.
Is there really needed to set the upper control chart, upper control line?
Yes. Upper control limit and lower control limit, both are required. Always any control chart will have both control limit.
Okay.
I understand your concern. Your concern is about the specification limit. Specification limit, you can have both sides. Specification limits, you can have one side. But control limit will be there always on both sides.
Okay. It is harmful also to exceed the upper control limit too.
Yes. It always upper, whether you are going above the upper control limit or below the lower control limit, there is a special cause. For example, imagine I plot all your black belt examination score.
Yeah.
Right? And now more the score, more you like it.
Yes.
But when the class average is 70 and your score is 98, now you will be a special cause. Your score will be a special cause for me. What is it telling me? Though it is good in my business, it is telling me that you have performed significantly different from the entire team. Isn't it? There will be a special reason, special technique you could have used. I can still study how did you score so much mark by attending the training program, then I can implement it in my process. However, when you have designed a process to make sure all the students could score 70 marks, and then everybody should score around 70, then only you can say your class is under control. If some students are scoring very low mark, those students are not under your control. Same way, if some students are scoring 100 out of 100, the output is not because of your your system. The output is over and beyond your system's capability. Some other external efforts, external factors are also involved, and that is why you have scored above the control limit. So
That has also been checked.
Yeah, you need to understand. If it is good for you, you study and make the good thing happen in a normal way in your company. Understand? If you can make everybody score around 95, then that's a great thing you are doing. And to understand the reason why few are able to score above the upper control limit, and incorporate in your process so that everybody will start scoring, right?
Sir,
Right.
in
So,
manpower,
Sir,
I
one
have
thing.
always checked this. Sir, I have always seen this in the manpower distributions also, sir.
which distribution?
Manpower.
Yes.
Some of the
Yes.
manpower is beyond the upper control limit.
True.
And that not suits the lower manpowers, and grievance are there. That is why, sir.
True. All that the control chart indicates, it gives an indication that he is different from the normal.
Okay, sir.
He is different from the normal. Sometimes being different from the normal is always bad in a manufacturing context. But in some other context, like the students scoring a mark, or the skill level of your employees, and that may be good. But then you have to take a decision properly. And now why do we have both charts? This monitor within batch variation, this monitors between batch variation. Within batch variation should be under control. Then only you must plot the between batch variation. Otherwise, the control limit what you calculate will be wrong. Because when R chart is not under control, that means straight away your process is under the influence of special costs. If you fix the special costs, your control limit will change. Control limit might come even below. And only with the revised control limit, you must calculate the upper control limit and lower control limit for your X bar chart. Because when a special cost exists here, then you have to fix it, you have to remove the point. When I remove the point and recalculate everything, my R bar will have a new value. When my R bar will have a new value, then my upper control limit and lower control limit will also become new.
Yes.
If without doing that, if you simply use the same R bar value, then your X bar chart will start giving you false alarm, and then you will go wrong. Ultimately, we want to take correct decisions. That only for that purpose we are using all the tools. And what is the point? You take a wrong decision even after using the tools. So subgroup
I'm
need.
having a question.
Yes.
Like this control limit, if the specification limit is way more than my control limits, suppose that is 60 and 100, and
I understand. Above the control limit. Yeah.
yeah, and they are I'm having a good gap between my control limits and specification limits. Suppose this is 60, suppose this is 70, and I'm having a specification limit of 60. 60 and 100, and I'm getting a control limit of 70 to 90.
Okay.
Or even less than that. So what basically what should be my thought process? If it is going beyond the control limit, but still it is in specification limit every time or for a longer period of time.
What is that we learned on day one? We wanted to ensure we always get control limit inside the specification limit, right?
Yes.
And that is what happening in your process. You are telling that your control limit is, control limits are shorter. I mean, the process tolerance is smaller and customer tolerance is wider.
Yes.
That is good. You are making your process capable. And if you can further reduce your process tolerance, that means you further move your control limit towards the center, your capability will keep on improving. If you make your process tolerance half of the customer tolerance, you are doubly capable. Your process has become 6 sigma. Isn't it? You make it 1/3, your process will become 9 sigma. So the more shorter is your the process tolerance in comparison to the specification customer tolerance, the more capable you are. Right? Hope you have understood.
Sir, one thing. Sir, my question is that is LCLR is always 0?
Yes, here R chart, in R chart, your lower control limit is 0. It cannot be negative. Variations cannot be negative.
It may be
Standard
more
deviation.
than 0.
Come again?
It may be more than 0.
Yeah, it is more than 0. It is more than 0.
Maybe, no?
More than 0. But that's what you are
Yes.
seeing, you know, your upper control limit is positive, but lower control limits cannot be negative.
Okay, sir.
All right. So subgroup mean allows you to track the process center, and subgroup range allows you to track the process variation. Before controlling the process center, you see to that you control the process variation. And when R chart must be in why R chart must be in control to interpret the X bar chart? Because control limits are calculated considering both process variation and process center, right? And that is why R chart need to be in control. If R chart is not in control, your X bar chart will start giving you false alarm, right? And that is why we are interested in ensuring R chart under control. If R chart is under control, and now your X bar chart is going out of control, you can make a conclusion problem is with the process center. If the problem is with the process center, you can move the process center towards the target.
We will be learning this to calculate the sigma level also according to this data point.
You can see once the control limits are known, sigma levels can be calculated, right? Sigma levels can be calculated, but the basic job of the control chart is first to ensure whether our process is statistically under control or not. If it is statistically under control, now you can overlap the control limit with the specification limit. If specification limits are much wider and control limits are closer to the center, now you are highly capable. If control limits are beyond the specification limit, what do you understand?
I think that's not acceptable. Customer
You will have a lot of rejections when you actually run your process. The outputs will be beyond the specification limits, and if you calculate the sigma level under such situation, it will be low, right? So that's
But
how.
sir, if what should I do if like suppose I'm when there is a big gap between specification limit and control limit, and every time for a longer period I'm hitting inside the specification limit, way below the specification limit I'm hitting, and I'm not to make a process more controllable will be requiring more cost. So, and which I think my customer are not worried right now as a point of time. So should I worry about making the process within the control limit, or I should go along with that?
Okay, imagine you have a center line, you have upper control limit, you have lower control limit. Can you see 3 lines?
Yes.
Now, this is your upper specification limit, and this is your lower specification limit. Now you are seeing all 5 lines. This is specification limit, and this is your control limit, right?
Yes, sir.
And now, where are you producing? Are you producing here?
Every time.
Every time you are producing here, but still your customer is okay. Am I right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Your customer is okay, but if you know the control chart, if you also know the control limit and everything, this product you will not supply to your customer. If you supply these kind of products to your customer, what will happen in a long term? Your name will be damaged. You know why? These products, the tendency to go beyond the specification limit is very fast. Am I right or not?
Yes.
After buying the product, suppose say you are giving a warranty period of 1 year. Do you think your product will survive through the warranty period? It may fail even within the warranty period, isn't it?
Yes.
So producing products around the specification limit, though it is acceptable, your customer doesn't know statistics. He can check and then he can buy your product. But what will happen after fitting your product in the assembly? Yours is a small subcomponent. Imagine yours is a subcomponent you are supplying to a customer, and your customer is a OEM. He fits your product into his machine. And do you think the machine will function well for a longer period? Chances are low, isn't it? Yes or no? Chances are low because your product, once it undergoes wear and tear, it can quickly go out of the specification limit. And that is why it is important to produce always products inside the control limit. And to the extent possible, if you produce everything closer to the center, it will be much better. Takuchi's philosophy, isn't it? produce everything around the target. All right. Or let me help you understand. Let us say this is sugar level. What is the fasting blood sugar preferred value? Can I say what is the range, preferred range?
70, sir. 70.
70?
Yes, sir.
70 is too low, I believe.
90.
9. Okay, let me say 90 to 100. Right? So 90 to 100. So 100 is here and 90 is here below. And the target is 95. And now your sugar level is 98. Your sugar level is 99. Will you really worry about it or not?
Actually not.
Doctor will actually not, because below 100 it's okay, but probably the doctor might give you a warning. See, yours is 99 and continuously you are staying around 99, and probably after 3 months it may cross 100, isn't it? It may cross 100, and then you have to take certain cautions, and that is what you need to do in your manufacturing process also. If you produce products closer to the specification limit, your customer is okay to buy it, but you should caution yourself that you are producing too close to the specification limit. Sometimes what will happen, if you produce everything closer to the specification limit, the measurement error also can make your product to get rejected. Do you understand my point?
Yes.
You are producing
Yes.
too close to the specification limit. Somebody measures wrongly and reject your product as bad, but actually your product is good. That is why it is always to stay away from all these risks and produce everything around the center. Even somebody measures wrongly, still it is under specification limit. The measurement error will not affect your product rejection decision. All right. So you will be able to definitely better understand once you plot a control chart yourself. So X bar R chart should be plotted whenever your subgroup size is 8 or less. When your subgroup size is more than 8, then you must plot X bar S chart, and accordingly the formulas will have slight difference. And I have given it here, and you can leisurely read it. And similarly, when your subgroup size becomes 1, for example, you are doing a destructive testing. That means you select a piece and then you destructed and data is done. So you cannot destruct so many pieces, and so the sample size becomes 1. And now you can go for IMR chart, individual moving range chart. Now central tendency will be the moving range. The variation will be the moving range. Central tendency will be the process average.
Sir, one thing.
Yeah.
Sir, in IMR chart, you told me that when we are doing the destructive testing, we can take more than one sample.
Yeah, if you are taking more than one sample, then you need to plot X bar R chart.
No, sir. Actually, my concern is that suppose my process is very slow. Means if in a week I am producing one component, that time also I can follow IMR chart.
See, whenever you can't take more than one sample, your sample size is 1. Now, IMR chart is the option. Clear? Okay. If you take only one sample at a time, now the option is IMR chart. Because with one single data, how will you calculate range?
No, sir. We can take.
So it is IMR chart only. What is moving range? The difference between second sample and first sample. That is called moving range. Right?
Okay.
All right. So what is that we learned here? A control chart can detect special causes. It can be used to monitor stability. It can be used to determine readiness for improvement. It can demonstrate an improved performance. Right? X bar R chart monitors the mean and and variation of a process CTQ. And see, your data is a continuous data. We will teach you what is continuous data. You just see the decimals in your data, then most of it should be a continuous data. And it works well when subgroup size is 8 or less. A point falling outside the control limit is a strong signal and indicates the presence of special causes in the process. All of you as a black belt, even if you see 1 point above the control limit or below the lower control limit, you can take action. You can stop the process and you can take action. Right? If a special cause is detected, yes, the process must be stopped to fix the root causes. Right? Stop to fix the root causes. If subgroup size is more than 8, use X bar S chart. If subgroup size is 1, use an IMR chart. And same way in S chart also. In X bar S chart, your S chart should be in control. Then only you should plot the X bar chart. And the center line for average chart is X double bar. and sorry, R should be added here. Center line in the average chart is X double bar, and in the range chart, in the average chart, your upper control limit is X double bar plus 80 into R bar. Lower control limit is X double bar minus 80 into R bar. In the range chart, lower control limit is D3 into R bar. Upper control limit is D4 into R bar. All these D3, D4, A2 and all statistical constant purely depends on the subgroup size, right? So this completes our discussion on X bar R chart. And that means the control chart for continuous data. Similarly, when your data is attribute, for example, you wanted to monitor the number of defects. You wanted to monitor the number of defects. You may be a call center, and when somebody calls, your people sometimes miss the call, and missing every call is a defect. You are a manufacturing industry. You are a manufacturing industry. You produce output, and but finally, the quality checkers are rejecting your product. That means that is called your product has become defective. Why your product has become defective? Because it has got certain defects, maybe one or more defects, which may lead to the rejection of your product by your customer, and that is why your quality checkers rejected the product. So whenever you are dealing with the defects or defective, you can understand your type of data is attribute data. If it is defect, then there are two options for you, P chart and NP chart. If you are dealing with the defective, if it is defect, your options are C and U chart. C chart and U chart will monitor the defects. P chart and NP chart will monitor the defectives. And again, within defects, you have two types, C and U. And within defective, you have two types, P and NP. Why there is a difference? It depends on the subgroup size. Suppose if you are a call center, can you say every day you will get fixed number of calls? It's not possible. So subgroup size is variable. Yeah, it is variable. And so you are trying to monitor the unanswered calls, which is a defect, right? And your sample size is variable. That means you need to plot U chart. Same way with the defectives also, if your sample size is variable, P chart. But when sample sizes are fixed, you can either go for NP chart or C chart. So the formulas are given here. You don't have to worry. Probably in the distribution, you could have, while RK sir was teaching you, you could have seen all these formulas, isn't it? Square root of P bar into 1 minus P bar by root of N, where P is the probability of success, 1 minus P is the probability of failure, and all these things are getting used here in the control chart, right? So
Sir,
formulas are here.
Sir, can you tell me the difference between defects and defective ones?
Yeah, defects are nothing but the non-conformities. You suppose, let's say you buy a smartphone. Yes, if a scratch appears in the screen, what is it? It's a defect, right? And then if you are a customer, will you buy a mobile phone with the scratches on the screen?
No.
You reject the mobile phone. That means your product has now become defective. Defective means product is rejected by the customer because of the presence of defects. You can reject a product and make it a defective, and number of defects inside can be one or many also. Do you understand? A product can have multiple defects. Am I right?
Yes.
The product can have multiple defects. But if there are 10 products you are inspecting, at the maximum, how many you can reject? Only 10. Maximum you can reject all 10. So number of defectives cannot be more than the sample size. But number of defects can be more than the sample size. Do you understand?
Okay. Yes, sir.
All right. And
Sir,
now,
in simple words, can I say that, I mean,
yes, you can.
Defect is like, like the same mobile example. When I see the visible differences, like, I can reject right away. Once I purchase the mobile, and when I come home, if it's not functioning properly, that is defective. Is it okay to say that?
Yeah. Suppose customer still okay with your product, that means your product is not defective, but still it has defects.
Correct. Okay. Got it.
Yeah. Right. And now there are when to use P chart. When you are monitoring the proportion of the defective. Every